Yo, this is for you. I am my number one fan. For you, this is for you. I am my number one fan. For you, yo, this is for you. I am my number one fan. For you, I am my number one fan. I'm trying to get you from here to there. I'm trying to show niggas it ain't fair. How I just came up, but you not there. Stuck in the same situation you been in. They got the plug, you got the sound. You not just a groupie that's hanging around. They got the stage, but you bring the lights. It's enough room at the top, we ain't gotta fight. I am my number one fan. I am that legend you stand for.
What's up, the neighborhood? This is Reese.
And Arnold, what's going on, peoples?
Yo, we miss y'all.
Man, we really missed y'all.
We welcome you back to the neighborhood. For those of you who's been our neighbor the whole time, we thank y'all very much.
Yes.
And for those of you who's just new to our neighborhood, well, welcome. Welcome. It's going to cost you some fees to be here. We have some home ownership fees, some HOA fees.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to pay, one way or the other.
Yeah, you got to see the black captain, and don't forget, we got Town Watch.
Right.
You got to contribute with the donations to Town Watch.
Right.
Or won't nobody watch your house.
Pretty much. And you know what, y'all? We really need that Town Watch right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We need that Town Watch right now. So let's jump right into it. Brother Arnold has a little PSA that he would like to give out to our essential workers.
Oh, I do.
Yes.
I just like to say, on behalf of the Neighbors Podcast, from Brother Reese and Brother Arnold, we'd like to say thank you to all the essential workers that have been working through this whole pandemic.
Right.
And, that's everybody. Your gas station attendants, that's over Jersey. Your food, because over here we got self-service.
We're in Pennsylvania, just in case y'all don't know.
To all the nurses and the doctors, to all your food servers, to all those that worked at the Walmarts and the Targets, we appreciate y'all. And we're glad that you guys stayed in there and hung in there for us. So we really appreciate that. And we just like to tip our hat to you and say thank you very much for all that you do.
Very much. So our topic for today is just State of the Union. Where are we right now? That's really what it comes down to.
Well, right now we in the studio.
I mean, we're in the studio,
but as far as the American people in the country is,
right.
Some say, some would say that we are in a good place, depending on who you ask.
All right. So. All right, so let's name a person that might say we're okay. Now, I'm sorry to say her name, Miss Candace Owens, but she's one that thinks that we're okay.
I kind of refuse to even say her name because she gets enough credit from all the wherever she gets her money from.
Right.
I can't say where she gets her money from, but I'm gonna say this. Because I'm not a hater. I can congratulate when congratulation is due. Mm-hmm. So she does make her money a certain way. And I don't knock a person for making a living.
Right.
What I knock a person for when you're making a living is when you're degrading your own people or tearing down your own people as you're making a living. So that's where my issue is. And to go against your own people for the price of $1, and I'm not saying that, everybody does this because I believe everybody has a price. But people do have morals and they have respect for their own kind. So I know you want to jump in and say something.
No.
Go ahead.
No. So here's my take on that. My take on that is I agree that everyone has a price. But sometimes that price may be a little too high, and she may not understand that price is going to probably kick her later on.
Well, some people live for the day,
right?
So she's not worried about what's going to happen further on. Because from my understanding, I believe that everything that she surrounds herself with is not her. Meaning that I don't see other people of color with her, and particularly black people,
right?
And I'm not taking anything away from the sister. I'm saying she's doing what she's supposed to do,
right?
But don't do it at the cost of your own people. We have too many people throughout history have sold us out and continue to sell us out.
I mean, for an example, Ben Carson, who keeps coming out asking, why are the NFL players mad? Like,
right.
What you mean? Why are they mad?
And Ben, I don't even know. At one time, at one time we had a lot of. I seen something the other day, and I hate to just jump because we're on this right now. We're on this. So I seen something the other day where somebody was talking about when they Donald Trump become a racist, right?
Yeah.
So so it was a sister. It was a sister. And those of you that listen to us and know us about the Neighbors Podcast, you know what we're all about. We're about community. We're about family. We're about organizing and building each other up. We're not about the nonsense because sometimes you have to call a spade what a spade is. Sometimes you got to tell mustard what mustard is and not say that it's ketchup. Understand me? So her thing was, when did Donald Trump become a racist? She said, well, was it when he took the ad out on the five brothers from the Central Park Five?
Right.
Or was it when he did some other stuff? Or was it when he was this? Or was it when he ran for president? Or when he became a Republican, did he become a racist? Well, just to answer her question, he was always a racist. And she said, racists don't contribute money to black organizations. They don't do this and that. Young sister, racists do that because that's the whole ideal, so they can try to prove that they are not a racist. So to answer her question, when did Donald Trump become a racist? Donald Trump was always a racist. It's just that I agreed with her to the point where she said back in the 90s, a lot of people, superstars and all that work, they wanted to be around him. Sure. At that particular time, he represented money. At that particular time, a lot of people represented money, but later on in their life, they done something stupid. A lot of times when people mess up later on in their life, that stuff has already been in them. It's just that they just haven't been caught yet.
Or they just become better at it.
They become better at it.
Right now, unfortunately with him, with our president, he is under a microscope because of who he is.
Right. So somebody hung out with Will Smith and him. He was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So what? Couple other rappers he was in a couple rappers' videos and all that stuff. Right. See, people that knew about him and his father and about their practices and their real estate dealings, and they knew how he redlined the black folks and people of color in New York, and they knew about the things that he was doing. So he's always been a racist.
So here's my take on that. Was he racist from the beginning? I'm not going to say because I don't know 100%. I would say his actions would say he is, but I will also say that as long as some people are in love with the color green, they'll do whatever they need to. Right? So if I need to step on your neck, quote unquote, I'm going to do what I need to do.
Right. So to me, he's the worst type of racist because he's a racist that doesn't even care about his own people.
So that's where I'm saying, is he racist or not? Because he's killing literally everybody.
Everybody.
It doesn't, even though it looks like he's supporting a certain group of people, but let's be honest, that group of people are the ones that has the money.
Well,
quote unquote.
The ones that you may think he's supporting, but his base is different.
Right.
Because if you take, we're talking about the state of the union, we're talking about how the world is right now. So this is included. So if you take the way things are right now today, and who is distancing themselves from him, who is pulling away from him, and starting to finally say all right, this is what he's been doing all this time, but we just didn't say nothing to it because we was either afraid, ashamed, or he had something on us, and this is why we didn't say it at this particular time. So and then like say it really gets my goat when people say, well, he done a lot for black people. Oh, he did the prison reform thing. Yeah, you know why he did that? To let all his friends out. Because he only let out 2 black people, 1 black lady and 1 black man.
Right. Yeah,
none of our cousins, none of our brothers, none of our relatives, none of our friends were let out under that law that he signed. Right. Only his friends were let out under that law.
Yeah.
So I'm inclined to believe that he wrote that law just for him and his friends. It wasn't written for us.
And he told them up front, you go do this bid, I'll get you out.
Yeah, he said, I got you. Don't worry about it. Just do the time. I got you.
No stress.
I got you. And as you see, while we're all worried about the pandemic and we're worried about what's going on with the protests, we're going with everything, he snuck his homies out.
Yeah, because just about all of them are out.
All of them are out, except for 1, I believe.
Right. I think so.
But they're all out, Right.
But
no. Young lady, he's not a racist.
And so my other thing about the racist piece is that whether or not you want to call him that or not, again, we're assuming that his base is only those that's on our shores. I believe he's also saying what he needs to say across seas.
Well,
because of those persons that that if you take a look at China, right?
Right.
Would you say China don't like African Americans?
Well,
or those that are darker color?
Like I say, with the understanding of what propaganda is and how things are being moved, right? At this particular time, you would think that China does not like people of color.
I mean, if you pay
but if you speak to Chinese here, they tell you yeah.
But if you pay attention to what's going across, when you pay attention to what's going across in those on the news lines over there, they getting kicked out of stores and stuff like they are getting kicked out here.
Right.
Right. You pay attention to what's going on in Africa itself.
Right.
It's the same situation. So overall, what's the difference?
So the dark complected person has always had an issue in the world. Always.
Right.
Whatever hue of being black that you are, we have always had issues.
Right.
We have always had people that did not want us, and then they accepted us to a certain level.
Right.
We can always go back to slavery with the brown bag test.
Right.
And the lighter you are, the closer you were to the house.
Of course.
The darker you were, the further you were out in the field.
Right.
So yes, racism is alive and strong in the world, in America, and in the White House today. And systematic racism has been evolving in this country since its inception. From the beginning, it's always been there.
Right.
So, you always say that, these people did this, these people did that. Yeah, but these people own slaves.
So let me, I just want to be clear though. I'm not saying that Donald Trump is not. I didn't say that.
I didn't say you did.
No. I'm just clarifying for the neighborhood. I didn't say that he's not. I'm just trying to show the other side of that.
Right. And that's what we do. This is what we do here. We rarely give you our not legitimate, but we never rarely we usually stay in the middle of a lot of things. But sometimes you have to speak up and let the truths be recognized. Sometimes you have to do that because personally, I really believe that this brother, we can't have 4 more years of this dude.
No, and I agree with that.
We cannot have 4 more years of him.
I agree.
And then on the other token, people say, well, Biden is just as old as he is. Biden is just another he's just a Democratic racist and that. And that may be true to some degree. But my thing is this. There has been a change in the last 2 months.
I agree.
Right? There has been a major change. You have seen things that we have not seen happening in a long time. And I think the last person that actually pulled whites and blacks together like that, if I'm not mistaken, was Martin Luther King. And a lot of people like to always talk about him, how passive he was and all that. Martin Luther King was not a passive dude. He understood that he had to be a certain way to get certain things done. But he was not passive. But once he started to be more, not aggressive, but to be more assertive, this is when they got rid of him.
See, I think he was. So okay, I'm going to go from a church perspective.
Okay.
Overall, from a church perspective, you are passive.
Right.
Overall,
you're supposed to be.
That's what we've just been taught, ingrained, whatever. Unfortunately, right. So with that being said, I think he was passive to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when it came down to did his mom get killed, or I can't remember how long, all that type of
somewhere around his mom. Well, somebody in his family, I can't remember who it was.
I think some of that, made some changes in his life or whatever. But I do believe that overall, by him being a minister, things like that, I think he was a little passive. Right. I think he was.
Well, he knew if you check his history and watch his timeline of the things that he was doing up until the time he met with Malcolm. Because once he met with Malcolm, see, once you put those two gentlemen together, and if you could have combined them into the same person, that it would have been a force to be reckoned with.
And I think that's where they were headed towards, of working together.
Correct, because they had several meetings,
right?
And they were at that point where, this is what we need to do. We need to bring this and bring that, because they understood that.
Right,
they understood that. And that's why it was so easy for him to pour a lot of white Americans with us, because a lot of them were poor and a lot of them knew what was going on.
Right.
You had a lot of them that didn't turn a blind eye like you have now with the George Floyd incident, like you really couldn't ignore that.
Right.
I don't care who you were.
Well,
you couldn't ignore that.
Well, let's be clear. We could have, just like we've done in so many other situations, that and I think that moment was a microcosm of everything else that had been going on.
That was the tip of the iceberg.
And so what happened is that all of us wanted to get out the house, right? And we were already upset about oh yeah, I'm getting $600, more of my unemployment check. This person is not, this person got their check from the government. This person did not. I'm losing my job. So I think what happened with George Floyd, it ended up because I really think our message with George Floyd is done.
Well, the reason I say I don't think it's done is because of this, because the things that are happening in Congress right now, even though that the powers that be do tend to jump on the bandwagon of certain things.
Right.
So right now you have a real big push from Democrats and Republicans to vote Trump out and his administration.
Well, I mean, all right. So why would they want to do that? Especially for those that have been supporting him all this time. Well, unfortunately, the wells are starting to run dry.
Right.
And so let me clarify when I say the whole thing with George Floyd is done. It's like the Colin Kaepernick thing, right? Colin Kaepernick was kneeling for that exact issue.
Right.
Right? And then you had all these people that wanted to downplay it, say he was wrong, beyond what was said by our leadership. Right. But even our own people was trying to push it to the side. Even those that had sided with mega organizations.
Right.
That, say, hey, we're past that. Well, no, technically we're not. Technically we're not. We're not going to be past it.
No.
But so I think George Floyd, this situation really needs to be headed by us and not by everyone else.
Well, that's why I said most people piggyback stuff. So then you have which you have to have allies in this war.
There's a difference of having an ally and someone that's just using right. Because if we take a look at what's really going on with the some of these laws and stuff, they're piggybacking off of other stuff.
Right, but that's how making a law and signing a law and making a bill and signing it into law. A lot of this is done. This is how Congress is done. See, if you look at a lot of things are being opened up right now. Right. A lot of things that people didn't understand they're starting to come to light and they're starting to see. So, but like I said, that incident, even though Colin, that's his whole thing was him. He was kneeling for that.
Right.
And a lot of people, the same people that were saying he was wrong now saying he's right because they're jumping on the bandwagon.
Right.
But you know what? And this is just my opinion. This is just my own observation. When the protests started, the protests were peaceful. But when the looting and the vandalism started, and we weren't tearing, well, not us, but when I say we, I mean the people that participated in certain things. And then when the looting started, the looting wasn't in our own neighborhoods as other protesters have been.
Right.
They were in Beverly Hills. They were in Rodeo Drive. They were in Center Cities. They were in, they were in the city halls, Washington D.C. They attacked the establishment, the money,
quote unquote.
And as soon as that happened,
everybody
jumped on board. Because listen, if you remember, there was an incident about maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, when there was a young brother who wore a Black Lives Matter T-shirt to Starbucks. So Starbucks said, "No, you can't wear that in here."
Right.
And he said, "Why I can't wear that?" They said, "You can't wear that." Their thing was, you can't wear it because it doesn't represent Starbucks. But other people were wearing other things there. So he took offense to it. What did Starbucks do?
They ended up implementing
it to the Starbucks thing. So now they had Black Lives Matter mask with the Starbucks logo on it.
Right. They want to control their narrative.
As long as it's coming from us. So, and I understand when you're saying that we need to control our stuff, because if you go to hashtag BLM or hashtag Black Lives Matter, it's more Caucasians on it than it is
right.
people of color.
Right. So when it comes down to us, it's done. to some degree.
Right. So they kind of took it over.
Right. So I think that's the difference right now, that we need to reevaluate where we really are and move forward. We need to reevaluate the NAACP. We need to reevaluate the Urban League.
Right.
There's certain organizations we need to reevaluate. See, for one, why didn't we start it ourselves, right? And then what's the real culture of those type of organizations?
Why we didn't start with ourselves? The Black Lives Matter?
No. I'm talking about like the NAACP and all that stuff. Like, we're not the founders of those.
Well, if you go back, remember they come from the Niagara movement.
Yeah, but it wasn't founded by us.
But it came from them, and it was a coalition of blacks and whites.
Yeah, but when you look at the actual history, it says it was. I mean, but so don't get me wrong. This is where you're saying that, hey, we need the allies. We need those persons across
right.
that side to say, hey, you know what? We're going to help you out. Do this, that, and the other, right? But at the same time, now that we're at this point, like I listened to Puffy. He's trying to come real hard at Eminem right now, right?
Why?
Because of what Eminem has been saying, and Puffy's like, "Hey, you're a guest in our culture and things like that." Well, is Eminem an ally or is he not?
Yeah, what has he done?
So, but see, this is where I think the messages keeps getting blurred.
I think when we have those different distinctions between certain individuals, and that's because I think they always didn't like them, and they wanted that this was the particular time to attack them. Because if you remember when Don Lemon said, he mentioned a lot of mentioned a lot of people.
Right.
He mentioned Tyler Perry. He mentioned Oprah Winfrey. He mentioned Puff.
Right.
He mentioned a lot of people. People that got money. People that's influenceable in the black communities and the black family as a whole.
Right.
And they didn't say anything, and still haven't said nothing.
Not really
about the George Floyd incident or the police brutality.
Right.
And it's only convenient when it's convenient for them to say something.
Right.
So I mean that's why I respect Killer Mike a hell of a lot, T.I. a hell of a lot. I have nothing against Puffy. You have to pick and choose your battles, which is understandable. And a lot of times we pick and choose our battles that we can beat.
Right. And
so coming at Eminem about for whatever, because I didn't get a chance. I didn't see if Eminem had said anything derogatory about anything.
Right.
And if he did, then he needed to be checked.
But what I'm getting at is that, like as he just stated, there are certain people that are opportunistic.
Sure.
Very much like, hey, want to attack Biden, and I'm not saying I'm for Biden like that.
Right.
But you want to say, hey, we're going to hold the vote hostage. Well, dude, you can't tell me who I'm going to vote for.
Yeah,
that's my individual
plus
right.
you don't speak for me.
Right.
You don't speak for me. I'm going to vote for who I want to vote for, regardless of who you say not to vote for. I'm going to vote for who I think is the best for us.
Right.
And for my family, for my people.
And see, that's where I think people need to understand when it comes to Trump and some of these other people that they are, in some cases, the best for them.
Well,
for their
when I say that for me, this is for me.
I understand.
But you do have a lot of people that vote for party because that's their party.
Right. You're right.
And you have a lot of people that vote blindly just because that's what they want to do.
Right.
But when you throw in the factor that I don't like this person because of the color of their skin, or I don't like this person because they're overweight, or I don't like this person because their butt's too big,
right.
or I don't like this person because they're too skinny,
right.
That's a different factor. Then you have a lot of people that have those they think on the same lines.
Right.
And then they were like, oh, well, we're going to vote for them to get them out of here. Remember when Trump first came out? Remember Trump was a Democrat. Then he became, he was like, oh, I think I'm going to be an independent. And then he used to cuss the Republicans out.
Right.
He talked about every last one of them.
Yep.
But then when they found out he was the front runner, all of them jumped on his back.
Right.
All of them start kissing his feet.
Especially how you going to have, this man talked about your wife.
And your
him?
father. And I'm going to support him. No.
Right.
No.
Right.
So it's really hard when you say I'm for party. That's why when a person be like, when you tell them something and you be like, yo, I want to get Trump out of it, they're like, oh, you must be a Democrat. No, I know how to think. It ain't got nothing to do with me being a Democrat or Republican or independent or whatever. I have a mind. I think.
Right.
I understand what's best for me and best for my family and those around me.
And which is where Candace is right now.
Right. That's why I said I can't fault her for what she's doing. I had to fault her for how she's doing
it. And what's contradictory for her is she already had a lawsuit out there for a similar situation, and now you're going to go the opposite way.
Do you feel me?
Come on.
So that just lets me know that just really solidifies for me that everybody has a price.
Right.
It's just that what is your price?
I mean, so let's be honest. If somebody came up with a bag, Arnold, I just need you to say that this Republican is the greatest.
Well, as long as it's Trump, I probably would, depending on how big the bag is, because I really don't like Trump as a politician. I don't know him as a man because I've never been around him as a man, so I can't tell you how he is as a man. But all I can speak on is him being the way he has been.
I mean, let's.
And I never really liked him when he was on TV anyway.
I mean, if somebody came up with a bag and said, "Here's $20 million," all you got to do is say, "I like Trump."
$20 million, I probably can. I like Trump. That's $20 million.
But so in that, people are going to say, "All right, Arnold, how you going to change up on me or whatever else?"
Right.
And meanwhile, you're like, while you getting your big fat chicken sandwich, you're like, "Look, I don't know, I just did it."
Not my Popeye's chicken,
right? So because your things. I mean, as the individual, you're gonna look at it like, "Yo, I'm eating. My family's eating.
Right.
You have grandkids, so your grandkids.
Yeah. And
what can you do?"
And that's how I look at a lot of these black people,
right?
That you see at these rallies and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, and that's the first thing pop in my head is how much money are they getting for this,
right? And
then I'll be like, would I really do this?
Right.
See, like I say, the way dude is, and what makes him not evil, but what makes him bad is what he attracts. See, he's smart, right?
Oh no, he is.
He knows how to get the people he need to get behind him.
Right.
He knows how to rally those people up because you have to listen to his rhetoric. His rhetoric is directed at one specific set of people in the United States. The Republicans, a lot of Republicans just they go along with it because of party. Because you have a lot of Republicans that's old and be like, yo, man, I'm a diehard Republican. Just like you have these diehard Democrats that, and I'm saying because I'm a Democrat, I vote Democrat because that's how I choose to vote Democrat. Mm-hmm. At one time I didn't know why I was Democrat because my family was Democrat, so I was Democrat. But when I learned, I was like, for me, it didn't matter because I vote for whoever I want to vote for. I've voted for Republicans, I've voted for independents, and I voted for Democrats throughout my lifetime.
So you voted for Ross Perot, huh?
No, I ain't like Ross. Ross, he reminded me of Dumbo too much. And then when I went to Walt Disney one time, I got stuck on that little ride. So I ain't want to vote for him, So, but it wasn't like he wasn't a bad guy though, His ears were just
He's just crazy. I'm
but
sorry.
You have a lot of people that they don't understand. See, if you're independent, it's good to be an independent, but you can't vote in every election.
Right.
You understand me?
Right.
So I can choose to vote. You can vote for whoever you want to vote for. It's just that they make us to pick sides.
Right.
Because that's what they do. They argue to pick sides. Just like what's going on right now. The House passed a bill. They sent it to the Senate, and because Mitch is in charge of the Senate, he's like, well, I'm going to take my time, but I'm going to do what I want. But it's also, we got to understand that that's a bargaining chip.
Very much so.
That's all it is. That's a bargaining chip he's using,
right? And
he wants to put something forward. They all you know how I feel about politicians.
Yeah,
I believe politicians are this. If you break down the word poly, which means if you look at it in Italian, in Latin, poly means many, right? Mm-hmm. And then what is a tick? It's a blood sucking creature. So to me, politicians are nothing but many blood sucking creatures. I also believe that there should be a term limit. Like nobody should be there forever. The only person that really should be where he's at forever is the judges, but you had to be particular about who you put in there.
Well, I mean, right now the judges are selected, by whatever committees, Because it seems like it keeps changing.
Well, the president appoints a judge,
right.
And it's up to that judicial system in the Senate to pass it to the confirmation, to give them the confirmation.
But that's what I mean by it seems like it keeps changing, because on one hand it sounds like it's one group. See, the one thing I realize right now, as of today,
it's whoever runs the Senate can put the judge in.
People are not consistent. They're not playing by the rules.
Correct.
They're not playing by the rules.
Right. I agree with you on that.
So even though we have a constitution, we have a bill of rights, we have, whatever we might have, people are not playing by these rules.
Right. And then us being black, we have a different set of rules anyway.
Right.
We don't go by the same rules. We don't go by the same rules everybody else.
I mean, like let's be honest. Like for an example, we're saying we're from this Philadelphia area. We're born and raised in Philly, but I would have never guessed that the people would actually go to the mayor's house and threaten him directly, like they did a couple weeks ago, because of this Christopher Columbus statue.
You feel me? And the crazy and the crazy thing about that is this. In that area of South Philly has been known to be a racist area since I was a kid.
Right.
And probably longer than that. But that Marconi Park area down there, there's no blacks living there at all.
Right.
It's right up the street from the stadium. You better not be black and try to buy a house in there. So their thing was, when they brought out them guns, them bats and all that stuff, that it wasn't about that statue. It was about to let them know, yo, get back. This is our neighborhood. Stay away from it.
I mean, the same thing that happened in the Fishtown area.
You feel me?
So there are certain pockets that, again, you want to talk about law and lawlessness is across the board.
Right.
It's across the board. When they talked about this black on black crime thing and there's white on white crime, black on black, and brown on brown, whatever. Again, it's across the board.
Right, it is.
It's across the board.
It
so
is.
I understand that sometimes we pick and choose certain situations, but there are certain people that have been criminalized even more, shown to be the bad guy even more.
Right.
And that's one of the things that this movement is really all it's doing is showing that,
and it's bringing more to the light,
right,
that things that are going on. But like I say, this particular movement right now has been really positive, because and I have to go back to what you say. I have to go back to that, because do we really have allies,
right,
or do we just have people that's going along for the get down for the right now?
I mean, because all right, so for an example. People want to talk about Obama did literally nothing for black people, right? So I respectfully disagree.
Right.
He had to do certain things for certain pockets of people in order for us to open up the door.
Well, he did a lot for everybody, and he only can do what was allowed by Congress to let him do.
Right.
So a lot of people's whole thing is this, because they don't physically see it. Just like we don't physically see, just like the girl brought up with Trump.
Right.
So Trump signed a bill for HBCs to get so much money. Fine,
right.
That's great. Fine.
Right.
You're supposed to do that. It was, that money was already being allocated anyway.
Right.
But you're supposed to do that, right? So he signed that the prison reform thing. The reason people associate that with blacks and people of color is because we fill the prisons.
Right. But see,
and that's why people thought, oh, that was for us. And then with him saying that black unemployment has been at its lowest for so long, that's not a result of what he did. That's a result of the 8 years of Obama and Biden's administration and what his cabinet did and put into play.
Right.
Because remember,
right,
every new president inherits what the old president left.
Right.
Whether it's bad or good.
Right.
And this president has not yet apologized for anything.
Oh, he's not going to.
Never said he was sorry for anything.
He's not going to.
And never took credit for anything negative that he has done. But he has claim to the things that he has not done. And his whole administration has been to do two things: divide and conquer the country, destroy it, and to destroy and eliminate everything that Obama did.
So, also with that, I believe that in addition to that divide and conquer, people need to realize that he's even dividing those that we feel like are his base.
Right.
Because those people that really, really supported him, the farmers, this, that, and the other, like they've been hoodwinked almost the whole time.
The whole time.
You know, when you take a look at some of the others that are not as fortunate as those that's making $100,000 a year or whatever else, they getting jammed up too.
Of course they are.
Because if he really repeals this Obamacare, they're going to be jammed, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, and those are the ones that he's talking about. Oh yeah, there's nice people on both sides of that. You know, whatever.
And how do you get rid of health care during the pandemic?
Well, I mean,
people need that health care. How do you get rid of that?
Again, it comes down to the money. How much money are they putting out? And I think that's the reason why they're procrastinating with this stimulus package.
Well, this again, it's the bargaining chip.
Right.
Remember what he wants. So he's saying that during the interviews and stuff like that, he's saying, yeah, there's going to be a second stimulus check. He said that the stimulus package will be generous. He didn't say the checks. He said the package.
Right.
Meaning that the package is going to be big. So if we actually got a chance to sit down and go over the numbers with the package, we can actually see where this money went. Because a lot of money went to big corporations.
Right, it did.
A lot of money went to him.
Right.
You know, just like he's sitting on right now, I think $13 or $14 billion for testing and stuff like that he's sitting on.
Right.
That should be distributed throughout the states.
Right.
But he's sitting on that. And he's trying to figure out a way. I believe. I'm not saying that I don't know if he really is or not, but I believe he's trying to figure out a way. Yo, how can I put this in my pocket?
Right.
You know. So when they make this next stimulus package, and they're going to make one because something's going to happen that we're going to have something's going to slow us up again, and I believe it's going to be part of the virus. People are going to have to come home and be locked down for a little bit, and they're not going to want to, but they're going to have to,
right,
until we can get a handle on this thing, you know?
Right,
and. When they make these packages, everybody puts in what they want to put in because they want to be able to take care of not just their constituents,
right,
but those that lobby for them.
Right. So
everybody needs to get their breakdown.
Right.
Everybody needs to do this. Everybody needs to have this much money.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be another stimulus pack. The question is, how much of that is the American people going to get? So what he was saying, and I know I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. The only reason I'm talking so much is because we have not talked to you guys in a long time, so you have to forgive me.
Right.
And
there's so much to unpack.
It's just so much that we had so much.
Right.
So it's definitely going to be another stimulus pack. It's just a matter of how much he wants to get the people. So it is stated that he said that they want to renegotiate the way they distribute the money. So remember last time, if you had, I think it was $75,000 was the cut. If you made $75,000 a year, or maybe it was $100,000 a year, you got a stimulus package. So they're trying to cut it down because right now, for him to think he can get his votes,
right, is
to give people of color more money. Because they think that's all we want is money.
Right.
That's not all we want.
Especially when you take a look at the things that keep coming up as far as reparations.
Right.
So if that's what we want, if we want money, try to find a way to pay our bills, feed our kids, and not give us reparations.
Right.
Let me find a way to give you some.
And and of course we would like some money, but just because you give us money doesn't mean that you go and get our vote.
Right.
You know, some of us may vote for you depending on the amount of money you give us. You know, but
so
to have 4 more years of you and those when you talk about the farmers and those that he promised all this stuff for, see, you have to follow the history of what politicians do. So when it's come times for a re-election, they bring up the same stuff that they brought up the first time they got elected.
Right.
And then because this is only a 2-term presidency, he's going to tell his people, yo, I didn't have enough time to do what I needed to do. So you need to give me 4 more years so I can go ahead and finish doing what I'm doing. You give him 4 more years, he's going to destroy this country.
Yeah. And
he's going to destroy this country right along with you.
Well, someone made a statement the other day, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but this, I think it was a rabbi, who talked about that this is the Antichrist.
Yeah, I mean, he could be. I don't know.
And so what he said, which his viewpoint was very interesting. See, unfortunately, coming from a church perspective, you think Antichrist is going to be some other type of being, especially when you know that Christ himself, he died, he rose again, ascended to heaven, things like that, right? So you almost think of a heavenly, angelic anti-angelic situation,
right?
right?
And if correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the Antichrist supposed to be a guy that everything's supposed to go good for a minute? He's supposed to do everything correctly. He's supposed to save everything,
right?
But that's how he disguises himself.
Well, the question is, has our current president done things right in certain people's eyes?
What 6, maybe 8 people?
But look, that could be enough.
Who?
But that could be
Barney, Bert and Ernie, and a couple other people on Sesame Street.
Who knows? I mean,
how could you not sit here? Yo, drink the bleach. If you drink bleach, it'll kill the coronavirus.
Well, no. But listen, I mean, but when you think about that, how many people actually did that?
Because he knows there are people out there, and that don't just goes for Republicans, and that goes for all. There are people out there because some people they follow blindly.
Right. So
they believe so much.
I mean, like, all right. So let me ask you this, and this is something that we talked about, not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really think it's necessary for you, if your pastor said, "Hey, fill out this form in order for you to come to church," just like they did with the Republican thing, right?
Right.
When you think about that, it's like, if you already know there's going to be a situation, why would you even invite me to come back?
Why would you invite me?
Right. Or
why would you put me in jeopardy?
Right. So again, you have some people that's going to be like, well, Pastor, I need to do or whatever else, and I miss being here, and I need this. No. If I got to sign this, I need to rethink that. I need to rethink that.
Trust me and believe me and all that stuff. I shouldn't have to come to you and say, Reese, I need you to sign a waiver to do this, or I need you to sign this paper to do this, or I need you to commit to not doing something if this happens.
Right.
Even and I'm gonna say this right now, even at my job comes to me with a waiver, I'm not signing it.
And see,
so I'd be on unemployment.
But see, that's the thing. Right now, you have so many people that's looking. I think, truth be told, when it comes down to it, I think everyone is looking for a leader. Come from the black community, we're looking for a leader for this Black Lives Movement piece. When it comes to the running of the country, people really think that his leadership style is really crap.
Right.
Like you said, both sides of the aisle feel that way.
Right.
So they're looking for a leader.
They're looking for a leader.
So
I believe
that. When it comes down to some of this sports stuff, like, it's funny how LeBron and Kyrie are not seeing eye to eye on a lot of this stuff. So, but people are saying that Kyrie is a bad leader. Well, no, some people actually feel the way Kyrie feels.
Yeah.
So I really do believe that there's a lot of things that's being missed on.
It is.
I really do believe.
And I think that a lot of times we get caught up on it and we get so one-sided that we don't get the chance to see the bigger picture of what's going on.
Right.
So we only get to see what's right there in front of us. We don't even take the opportunity to look around the corner to see what's coming down the pike.
Right. Right. And what's coming down the pike is going to be really, from what I can see, everyone's going to be worried about money.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to pay your mortgage, your car note, even just rent?
Right.
And everyone's going to be worried about their job because jobs are leaving left and right, especially if we get ready to go through another shutdown again.
Mm-hmm.
Because Texas is talking about shutting everything back down again and, whatever. So, when you think about all these other things, if they're going to shut down again, we already had a mass exodus of businesses the first go round. What's going to be the second go round?
Yeah, because
third go round.
People had to learn to adapt.
Right.
So
it's right now we are in such a crazy situation that we're really going to keep our eyes open. We're really going to keep our eyes open.
Yeah,
and we're really going to have to be even more diligent, on maintaining what we have.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take a look at, when I ask you that question, do you like Donald Trump for $20 million? Are you would you take it?
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, I don't knock her for her hustle.
Right.
I knock her for how she hustling.
Right. I understand.
She should hustle different. But and in the same token, $20 million is a lot of money.
Especially if your job, if your job come to you and says, Arnold, you sign this waiver, and then someone on the other side is saying, hey, all you got to do is say this to get that $20 million. Well, you know what? You're going to be like, screw that waiver. I'm going to sign, I'm going to get this $20 million.
I don't know, but $20 million is a lot of money. Yeah, I had to keep saying that to myself because I have morals. So $20 million
No,
is a lot.
I mean,
of cash.
and I'm not saying you personally,
right? But
again,
the average, but think about the average person that
Right.
$20 million is not their number.
right,
$20 is their number.
right.
A
Right.
bag of food is their number because you don't know what a person to do in what situation.
Look,
You know, and I think we as human beings miss that. We miss to look at what is a person going through and why you think they're doing it, what routes
Right.
they take. That's why I don't like to try to put anybody down. You know, I don't try to really talk anybody down. I try to analyze everything as much as I can.
Right.
And then once I do my own analyzation, and if it comes up and I hit my little Rubik's Cube and shake up the magic 8-ball and it all comes back that something's wrong with you,
Right.
something's wrong with you.
right, and
That
I
means
think,
to get away from you.
and
leave it
that's
alone.
where we are right now. Like we're trying to figure out who our true neighbor is right now.
Correct.
In actuality,
Correct.
we're trying to figure out like, who's really for us and who's against us right now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really hard to trust anybody.
True.
Because like we're saying, you know, if someone wants to dime you out because they know that there's a ransom out, you know, or
Right.
you
I mean,
or something,
Well, you have had family members that did that.
right? You
You know, there's a $5,000 reward out for you. And then see, I'm to this point right now in my life where I believe in justice, but I don't believe in justice.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So I believe that if you do something, I believe if you're man enough and capable enough to do it, you should be man enough or woman enough to be capable to take responsibility for it.
right,
And whatever falls behind that. So don't moan and cry and complain when things don't go the way you think they're supposed to go, but you knew what the situation called for when you
Right.
put yourself into the situation.
right,
So I'm a strong believer of that because I've been through that in my life.
Right.
And that had helped me
Mm-hmm.
to change the way I think, the way I act, and the way I do things because I know everything I do, there's a consequence. Am I prepared and am I willing to accept the consequence? You know, so.
And see, I think that's the one thing when it comes down to feeding your family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody's like, yo, I'm gonna do what I need to do.
Right.
You know, so if it means that I need to say certain words, certain things out of my mouth in order for me to put that food on that table.
Man, $20 million. My wife would probably be like, hurry up, say that you say you love me every day. You know, I'm like, yeah, I do that for free.
But and here's the thing: I didn't even say you had to say you love him. You just like him.
I just like him. You know,
You know,
yeah, I
so-
like him.
You know, but and even if they put a restriction on, you cannot fall back off of that over a certain period of time.
$20 million to ease that out right out.
Right. You know, so you can be like, yo, yeah, I like him. You know, that doesn't stop you from rolling your eyes, you know, wink, wink, you know, whatever. They just say, hey, verbally, you can't say that you don't.
Wait a minute, can I do it on TV and hold the sign that says it shows my true feelings?
Right. You know, so that's the thing. You know, we really don't know what state someone like Candace is in.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't knock the sister.
And we really don't know someone like Ben Carson.
And that's another
You
thing.
know.
Ben, what's up?
You know, so
Holla at us, Ben. Come talk to us, Ben, at Neighbors
right.
Podcast, man. Look us up. Give us a call, man. Sit down and have a talk with us, man. Because we believed in you at one time, man. But you remind me of that guy that was running for president from Godfather's Pizza.
I mean, here's
What was
the thing.
his name?
From Godfather's Pizza.
Yeah. Remember the brother? Oh, man, I can't think. He was a Republican, too. I can't think of his name. But Ben, holler at us, man. Come on, man. So we can go ahead and we can all sit down and we can talk about your experience in the Trump administration.
Well, what's he going to say? I mean, he's making money. He's he's
Hand
chilling.
over foot.
You get what
He's
I mean?
a doctor. He's a doctor that's head of HUD.
Right. Right.
I don't mean to laugh.
You know, so when you really think about this whole process, you know, the State of the Union, if we had to get us a real address, I know we talked about a lot of different things. Again, we haven't been on the mic for a while. I know
Yeah.
we had no rhyme or reason today.
Just excuse us. We just need to get this off. We had to vent because this is not us.
But
We had to vent, y'all. We had to vent.
I would say the State of the Union right now, we're crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's off.
But you know what the best thing about that is? It can get better if we allow it to get better.
So it's going to get better. But remember, at any situation, you need the dumb stuff before it gets better.
Right.
And I do believe that we're not at the dumb stuff yet.
No, that's probably November.
You know,
It's really going to be hectic.
you know, I think it's going to be a situation where, hey, it's time for him to go.
Yeah.
He's not going to want to leave. He's going to board up the windows and the doors and stuff.
I really,
and
you know what,
can't pull
and
him out.
I was thinking that when he went to that bunker,
Right.
and I was like, is he like measuring the bunker for how he's going to put it up the way he wants. Because when he has to live, is he going to hide out in the bunker?
Look, he might.
And listen, if he does go to the bunker, go ahead and seal the door
right.
and put a little slot
right.
so you can feed him and let him stay in the bunker. Let him stay down there give him a nice big flat screen TV, and give him a Nintendo or PlayStation 5, whatever you want to give him, and keep him down there.
I think that I think once we go through another transition of a president, I think once we go through a transition of some of these other people that might be coming out of office, like Mitch McConnell, Mitch he's getting close.
Lindsey Graham, they got to go.
So they got to go. And these people, they're fighting for their own, lives in their own states.
Yeah, because did you see what was going on in Kentucky a few weeks ago with their voting?
No.
People were actually lined up, banging on the door to get in the vote. I mean, Mitch is up for his seat.
Right.
And they have two Democrats. They still haven't finished counting the votes out yet.
Yeah, but one person they're saying that won. Was
it the girl? Her name was Amy. I think the lady's name is Amy Klobuchar or something like that.
Yeah, no, not her.
And then it was the brother that come from the Black Lives Matter organization. Him, he won.
Yeah, they're saying he won.
That's good.
So
either one of them would have been great though. Either one of them. Don't get me wrong. Either one of them would have been great.
But right now, even so, from what I saw last. They were saying that his numbers are high enough that he could probably knock out Mitch.
Yeah, goodbye, Mitch.
So when you start looking at that, it's probably gonna be a whole sweeping change once again.
It is.
And if that's the case, if you have someone like Biden, you have a lot more Democrats in certain key places. The United States is going to change.
Well,
and that may not be a positive thing.
Hopefully.
Here's the only reason I'm saying that, because some people overall, we as humans do not adapt to change well.
Correct.
Overall.
I agree with that. But my thing is this, just like with the Black Lives Matter thing, how many people are going to be the allies and how many people are just on the bandwagon just to get down because it's the get down time?
Right.
So real quick, and we usually there's a quick organization, right, that's Republican organization. I believe me and you talked about them. They're called the Lincoln Project.
Right.
Wow. These guys, you got to see these commercials that they made in all the primary states against Trump. Like they really, and they're not just going after him. They're going after everybody that's up for any type of election in the next 2 or 3 years, and they're getting them out of office because they want a new Republican Party.
Well, see, I think also people are trying to erase everything.
Right.
They're even, I don't know if you saw the other day where the governor for South Dakota, because, there's a hit out on the, what's that thing called? Where Washington, Lincoln, and all them are engraved on the side.
Mount Rushmore.
There's a hit out on that. Like, there's, they're talking about they're going to blow that up. And
some things, some things.
So my thing is that the more you change, be prepared for the blowback.
Right.
The more you change, the more you try to attack. Because for one, there's already a group of people where your history is already limited.
Right.
How much more limited is it going to be?
Correct.
I haven't heard whether or not the MLK statue in D.C. I don't know what's going to happen with that.
I don't think nobody's going to mess with that.
I
really don't think nobody's going to mess with that. You really had to.
You keep hitting all these other monuments.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the monuments that are being hit have not just racist undertones, but they have had things like the Confederate things. Confederacy at that particular time they fought for slavery.
I understand that, but
to follow that flag and to follow those leaders that came from out of that is a vote for what they are. And then the majority of the people that you see that do that are good old boys. Some of them don't even know why they do it, because
there's a lot that don't.
Yeah, they don't know why. They just do it because it's done for generation after generation after generation. So I believe that if there is a dialogue to be set and we can sit down and have a conversation and explain to them why this is the way it is and this is why it upsets so many people, maybe they would see something different. And I'm all for anybody that feels like that's your heritage, fine. My thing is this: don't let taxpayers' money, especially black people's taxpayers' money, pay for that stuff when this country was built by us and you persecuted us for over 400 years. You know, you enslaved us, and you had your Jim Crow laws, and you hung us, you had the Klan on us, you had all type of stuff on us. So you constantly, as we seen with Brother George Floyd, you have your knee on our necks.
Literally and figuratively.
So, if we got to keep paying for that, then we should have a say in that. So I'm not saying that you have to burn that stuff down to take that. If you want to take that stuff down and put it in the museum and the Confederate Museum, fine. That's your prerogative. That way you can go visit it when you want to go visit it. You can go look at it when you want to go look at it. Fine. Don't keep having our taxpayers' money paying for that stuff.
I mean, but see, now let's go on the flip side. Again, I'm trying to balance it out. Then don't have taxpayers' money pay for the Martin Luther King statue.
Yeah, but the Martin Luther King statue has nothing there's nothing racist about it. It's nothing against nobody. What is racist about it?
From your perspective as being a black male, don't look at Martin Luther King as racist. From a racist perspective, that's your people.
The only way a white person would look at Martin Luther King being a racist is that he was against white, and he wasn't against white people because white people marched with him.
Well, again,
and he slept with white women.
That doesn't matter.
That's true.
And that
but
part,
I mean,
and
you know
that
what I'm
part
saying?
right there. No, but
I can understand what you're saying. Have a person saying, "Don't let my money pay for this because of that," but you can't. He didn't enslave nobody. He didn't murder nobody. He didn't kill hundreds and hundreds of people. That's just like saying.
I'm saying for me, I know where you're coming from.
Right.
But I'm just saying, be ready for, and this is not for you personally. I'm just saying that again, our listeners. The more you attack one group, just wait for those other group to come back at you again, even harder.
Well, is it an attack or is it a retaliation?
Well, as this one lady said about Black Lives Matter the other day, I can't remember her name. I saw her on YouTube. She said, just be lucky right now that black people want to do this in a civil way instead of having revenge. Right. I think there are some people that as the more you attack their stuff, they don't come from a vengeful perspective. So that's, right now overall, the way things are trying to be done, it has been in a more civil,
correct, and I agree,
democratic way. But there are some people, i.e., those that will go to the mayor's house and threaten him, i.e., those that will go to the governor's house and threaten them, whatever, they will attack all those other type of places.
Yeah, but just hope they're ready.
So I think, and so as someone said not too long ago, let's just make sure that we are not in a civil war, which I believe that's where we're headed.
And not to bring to bring it up. There was 3 cops down in North Carolina. They got caught on tape talking about a civil war. How they were going to kill all the black people, right?
Right.
Honestly, I really think a lot of people don't want a civil war because you guys are not the only ones that got guns. Well, you guys are not the only ones who have been trained by the military. You guys are not the only ones that have been in wars.
Well, it's like
so don't think that because you can shoot from a distance that you can't be shot from a distance. That's the problem. People don't think that. That's why they were so hard on. I can't remember what state it was in. It might have been Oklahoma when it was like a black militia that came out with AK-47s and everything. They was carrying their guns, so it was a problem when black men carried guns. Just like it was with Reagan when the Black Panthers went to California, to the state capitol, and they were carrying guns, and it's their constitutional right to carry guns. As long as you're not a convicted felon, as long as you can get a permit for it, as long as you abide by the laws of carrying the weapon, you can carry one.
So Oklahoma,
especially if it's a open carry state,
just like Oklahoma,
right?
Oklahoma's an open carry state.
You feel me? So those of you that hopefully it's none of y'all. If y'all are listening and you guys thinking about doing a civil war, be careful. Watch yourself.
So in that, I know. Listen, y'all. We've been all over every topic, a little bit of everything, a little bit of this and the other. And y'all know we're not normally this long on a show.
Nah, we just had to vent. We had to get this out.
But
we had to get this out.
But one of the things I would like to say is that we've brought up a lot of things today, and I want you to understand something, that all of it is not necessarily our own opinion.
Correct.
Because I talk. We're real neighbors and we talk. And
right.
So there's a lot of things that has been coming out on here that's not necessarily us.
Right.
We're trying to play devil's advocate because we did have a listener who said, "Do y'all ever argue?" So we're trying to
right.
So we're trying to play both sides of the fence. So we, because especially for myself, I see,
excuse me,
some of the struggle that's going to be on both sides.
Right.
In all honesty, because let's be real. I'm not going to be one that really thinks I'm not one that believes marching makes a difference. That's just me. That's my opinion.
I believe protesting does. I believe standing up for what you believe in does.
No, but
and not necessarily. It depends on what the march is and what it's about. But I believe in the march is the beginning. It worked in the 60s. It got us hurt a lot, but it did work in the 60s to some degree. I also believe this.
Did the march work or did the protest work?
Well, I think both of them did, depending on the situations, because the March on Selma worked better than it did with the protests in Birmingham.
So I think it
a lot of things was different.
I think it comes down to the region,
mm-hmm.
and I think it comes down to the reason that when you're doing it at that time. Because again, as you're thinking about this or talking about this, certain marches and protests were different, even though it was overall civil rights movement.
Right.
But each one was geared to a certain
topic. And I think each one complemented the other.
Right.
So that's what helped to get to the final thing.
Like right now, I don't agree with defunding the police. I don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, to some degree, because nobody's really explaining. Everybody's taking out of context of what defunding means. I think that some money should come away from the police and be put into other different things. To help with, schooling with children, after school programs and stuff like that. So,
but the money is already there.
Yeah, but why they're not using the money?
Because that's not the priority. The priority is putting everybody in prison.
And that's why the money's going to the police. They have more police. So we need to stop putting people always in prison and start helping people out. So if people have jobs, people have education, people have a way other than to do something criminal, they won't do it.
So
that's why when you defund the police, it's not like taking all their funds away, because I believe we need the police. We do need that barrier. We do need that buffer between stepping over the criminal line, because you do need police. You do need them. Don't get me wrong. You do need police. You need police to step up and do the right things. You need those good officers to stop following behind those bad officers. You need to start putting police that come from your neighborhoods and those precincts. You need to have people not living so far away coming to police people that don't know nothing about us. Stop having guys that's over here in one city do something wrong, get fired, and come over 1,000 miles to another city and get picked up and get hired.
And that's where this thing with the stimulus package and all this stuff that's in the Senate right now, where they're talking about, hey, you need a database to say, hey, this person was in law enforcement, they got fired.
Right.
But that's one of the things that they're trying to fight.
Right.
Some people want it, some people don't.
Yeah, but why would you want to fight that? If you're on the side of good, why do you want to do that? Isn't Congress for the people, by the people? Isn't the United States built by the people, for the people?
Yeah.
Don't we pay your taxes? Don't we pay your bills? Aren't you supposed to be working for us and not us working for you?
At some point, it was supposed to be like that.
Not us working our heart off. Not for we got to kiss your butt for you. We have to kiss your butt to vote for you. No, you should be kissing my butt.
You're supposed to be.
So I can vote for you.
But that's not the way it goes.
You should be massaging my feet, rubbing my back, so I can vote for you. Carrying my groceries home, so I can vote for you.
So I think that's some of the things, that we just need to just take a look at.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm really sorry.
Because
like I say, me and Reese, we, like Reese said, we talk. And we always talk, and I was like, "Yo, man, we got to put this down. We got to get this out.
Yeah, so
because I need to get it out." And I'm sure it's a lot of people that feel this way.
And we're all over the place.
We're all over the place.
But pretty sure I guarantee that the next show will be a little more structured.
I don't think so.
What I mean by that is that we'll be a little more focused on the topic.
Yes.
But when I said State of the Union, all of this
is part of the union.
Because
this is just a piece of it.
Because even though we're talking about this race situation, the COVID thing has been really, really quiet on the back end.
Right. Well, lately it's starting to pick up again because of the surges.
Right.
So
right.
It's really starting to pick up. A lot of people are starting to say, "Damn, we should have never opened up." Why we ain't listen to them? Why we ain't do that? See, I hate to be write about something when it hurts somebody.
Right.
You know, I'd rather been wrong, and then you're like, oh, then you can chastise me. Nah, see, we told you. But I knew that by this watching the pictures, watching how people congregate, and I was like, yo, knowing how this disease, this virus was transmitted, I was like, yo, something just ain't right here.
Right.
You know? And so people laugh, oh, you wear your mask all day. Yes, I do. I am 54 years old.
Right.
And I am type 2 diabetic.
Right.
And I weigh 300 pounds and I'm 6 feet tall.
Right.
So, yes, I wear my mask every chance I get.
Right. Yeah, and that's the one thing people don't understand.
You know, I wash my hands. I use hand sanitizer. I wear gloves sometimes. You know, I do everything I need to do so I don't bring this back home to my 71-year-old mother.
Right.
You know, or to my wife or
right.
to my children or to my neighbor.
Right.
This is why I do that.
Right.
Because I care about other people.
And that's one thing that
Reese cares about other people.
Right.
We care about other people.
I don't care about everybody, but I care about others.
He cares about that lady that works at the Popeyes chicken place, you know, because she makes a good sandwich. I haven't ate one yet, but, you know, one day I probably will. One day. Just not today.
First of all, the lady that's at the Popeyes, she's really rude. And, and sometimes I just want to throw a rock at her.
But you still go there and get the Popeyes chicken, though, don't you?
Yeah, right. So, but you know what, y'all? You know, we really appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thanks for riding with us on this ride today.
We really do. And we hope that y'all will continue to tune in to us and like, share, and subscribe with us, y'all.
Yep.
All right, y'all. And, you know, make sure that you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
All over. We're back. We're here. Love y'all.
All right.
Peace.
You conquered the pressure and you did not fall, but you are a diamond and worth more than gold.